Just Talk Black Show. Disclosure Statement. Disclaimer. The views and opinions shared on the Just Talk Black Show are those of the hosts and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the show, its sponsors, or affiliates. This show is a space for open, honest, and respectful dialogue within the Black community. Some conversations may include sensitive topics, strong language, or personal opinions that are intended to spark thought and encourage positive change. Listener discretion is advised. All guests are responsible for the accuracy of their statements and agree to participate voluntarily. By appearing on the show, guests give permission for their audio, video, and likeness to be recorded and distributed across Just Talk Black's platforms. Let's talk real. Let's talk truth. Let's just talk black.
This is the Just Talk Black Show with DJ Purpose. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. sharp. Every story, every struggle, every win we claim. We speak it loud, but respect on our name. Yeah. Let's talk black, we shine, we grow. Building up the people every Thursday on the Just Talk Black Show. From pain into pride, let the whole world know we're unfiltered, unite. Just Talk Black Show. Struggles, we celebrate with voices from the block to the boardroom within. Our stories connect us. It's deeper than chat. It's love, it's respect. Just talk black. Just talk black show. Say it loud. Let's talk black. Just talk black show. Rise together. Let's talk black show. Yeah. Let's talk black show. Oh yeah. Just talk black show.
Hello guys and welcome back to the Just Talk Black Show. I'm your host DJ Purpose, and you know what a week we've had. And I'm just going to start off by saying, if you miss Monday's show, what a show that was. And that was the guys coming on live. 5 black guys which spoke about what they want from a black woman in a relationship. Guys, if you missed that, you need to go and watch that. And it was such a powerful conversation to have black kings in the room and being positive. It was not negative. And let me tell you that straight away. It was not negative. It was all positive, you know, about solutions, about how they felt in a relationship and stuff that they would like to see, and, you know, how they would express themselves. So if you missed that, you can catch that on YouTube at the Just Talk Black Show. So just type that in, Just Talk Black Show, and you will see 5 guys on there, young guys, and they were speaking about the black love relationship. But today, what a topic we are going to be diving in. So today's topic is the beauty and strength in a black woman's hair. What a topic. You know, if you got your friends and your family, I'll tell you what, get your phone out, send them a text and say the Just Talk Black Show is on today. It's live right now. And guys, you can also phone in a bit later on. I will let you know when the phone line is open, but you can also put your comments in the chat and I can bring that up right on the screen and we can see that and we can answer your questions. So if you got any questions today, throw them in the chat, you know. And for the new people out there as well, I know, welcome to the Just Talk Black Show. You know, I'm your host, DJ Purpose. I've been doing this for at least 4 to 5 months now. And I'll tell you what, we've had some topics on this show. So please, I'm asking you all out there to subscribe and like to the channel. You know, when you like to the channel and you subscribe, definitely when you subscribe, you will be notified every time that we go live. And the reason why I'm saying that as well, because we do some shows on Monday where we do have panels discussions. So, you know, you'll be notified when those panel discussions coming on Monday. But every Thursday we are here live with different guests on the show. I mean, loads of different guests we got coming up all the way through to December, through to next year. I'm telling you, the Just Talk Black Show is getting booked up quick. So if you do have a black-owned business, or you have a testimony that you would like to share with the audience out there, this is the platform for you. This is for the Black community. This is where you can be seen and heard. So just going on to our next show, I want to tell you about next week's show. So this is our next week's show, The Hidden Science of Black Melanin. Leon Marshall, wow, he is going to be breaking down the Black melanin. Guys, this is another show you do not want to miss. You know, you can phone in, you can ask questions to Leon as well. So he will be on next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. just here on the Just Talk Black show. But first, as we're moving on, I'm going to bring our guest in. I'm going to let her introduce herself and just tell you guys who she is, just a little bit about herself.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me, DJ Purpose. My name is Khembé Clarke, and I see myself as an African woman, born in Jamaica, been living in the UK since 1966. My background is in education and training and employment, and I'm also a natural hair stylist specializing in locks. I'm the founder of Return to Your Roots, which is a festival, an annual festival held in Birmingham. And my heart's work, I suppose, is I'm committed to social justice, equity, and personal and spiritual development, as well as cultural empowerment. So that's a little bit about me. I'm also a mother with two I wouldn't say they're teenagers now, older girls. So that's me.
So let's start off with a bit of your personal journey, your personal story that connects you to today's conversation about the beauty and power of a Black woman's hair. Let's start there with your personal journey.
Okay, so my personal journey, I can't think of one specific moment when I would say I was like inspired to think about hair. But as far back as I can remember, I've just always had this, I would say, obsession with hair from a little girl. And I've gone from doing hair as a young person, doing my own hair, doing my family's hair, my church family, I would do their hair as well, to turning it into a business, really, and developing hair in the hair industry. I've always been an academic, but I've also been somebody that, as I say, I have this fascination with hair. And natural hair is something that I'm really passionate about. I'm an advocate for natural hair, and this might seem quite controversial to a lot of people, because when we talk about hair, we can get so kind of diverse in terms of how we see it, but there's lots of arguments and disagreements about whether we should be advocating and promoting natural hair, or we should just leave people to do what the hell they want with their hair. So I'm coming from a position of there is more to our hair than just it being physical, something on our head. I think it's about identity, etc. And my own journey has kind of taken me there, to this place where I see hair as political. It identifies who we are, and an understanding of our hair, I think, is important for us living in a society that is not always kind of on our side and is always promoting us as Black women. So that it's a heavy topic, is what I'm saying. There are so many sides to it.
Definitely. What was your early memories around your hair and how people reacted to it? But did that spark you off to get you into the hair as well? How people reacted, and you just wanted to be like proud of your hair? Did people react to your hair, and how was it taken?
Well, I think my early memories of me and my hair um, was having my mother sit above me and me sit between her legs and her combing my hair and plaiting it. I always remember having four plaits in my head wherever I was going, whether it's school or whatever. So I remember conversations, hearing my mother talk about my hair, that it was kind of good hair. And again, here's a really topical thing. We hear about good hair, bad hair, who has, whose hair is picky, etc., etc., which really stimulates a lot of discussion. But being somebody that is from, my parents have some Indian heritage within them. So my hair was kind of a bit straighter. So the reaction to my hair was always, oh, your hair is really nice. You have good hair. What did that mean? So that was already kind of making me feel like there was something different about my hair compared to other people. So there were always comments about what kind of hair was better and what wasn't. I didn't kind of like that because I couldn't understand why hair made some people seem attractive and others not. And then the other memory of me and my hair was when my father did my hair because my mother was in hospital giving birth to my twin brothers,
Yep.
and he plaited my hair, but they were like horns, they were just sticking up. So I had to go to school,
Yeah.
and the reaction wasn't great. It's like,
Wow.
what's going on with your hair today? But at least he tried, and that's something else about our men understanding and learning how to do their daughter's hair. We never know when things might happen.
Definitely, I think that's a something that we have to discuss, because I think men needs to understand their daughter's hair or even their son's hair. Nowadays there's a lot of young boys who are plaiting their hair. I've got
Exactly.
two sons, and both of the hair are plaited. So, and they're both long.
Really?
Yeah. So, that in itself, fathers alone to learn that technique of teaching and what they should be putting in their kids' hair, and
Exactly.
what they should be eating. But we'll get that into a bit later on.
Hmm.
So what moment made you start to see hair as a form of power instead of a problem?
Whoa, what moment?
What
I
was that
think,
one time that you said, you know what?
yeah, you know what? I think it goes back to growing up in a church community. And whether we knew it or not, we actually internalized a lot of the negative view about our hair, right? Um, Anyone with really tight curls didn't really get as much attention, particularly from boys, when we were kind of growing up, and teenage years, and we're looking at who we like and who we don't like. And it was interesting in church. Um, the girls that got the attention were the light skinned girls with long Indian looking type hair.
Mm.
And it kind of dawned on me then, well, actually, what's going on here? There's a bit of a pattern, you know? And also that there was an obsession almost with trying to grow our hair. So girls would be putting on all kinds of hair creams and hair oil. Like, I mean, I'm showing my age here,
Yeah.
Dixie Peach and Bergamot and Dax and all of this was all about you can grow your hair. And, on the labels, it would say things like, for long hair, buy this product or whatever. And then girls would end up with a cupboard full of all these products and their hair never grew at all. So there was definitely something going on that I pinpointed about how what kind of hair was considered beautiful and pretty and whatever, and what kind of hair wasn't. And I think what's his name, uh, Chris Rock did I think it was a documentary about good hair, bad hair, and I
Yes,
don't know if
yes,
you
yeah,
saw that.
yeah.
So again, early on there were inklings about something's not going on right here. But I actually just loved the texture of natural hair and felt comfortable with it because also my mother always had her natural hair. So she never permed, she never pressed. So I think I kind of grew up with that, seeing that as empowering. And it's like authentic. This is who I am. And therefore, I didn't want to change anything kind of about myself at that point. Things change later, obviously. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was kind of my first inkling.
Yeah. So why would you say at that point, when you're saying at that point, let's dive a little bit deeper in that. So what happened after that point when you just
Oh
touched on
my
that point?
gosh. Okay. So I lived quite a sheltered life, all right? I grew up in church, as I said, so I only knew church, home, school. And as I started to grow up, there were lots of things that I began to think for myself that I didn't agree with, that I then thought, kind of, this isn't for me. I started to become a bit more political. I don't know if you remember Roots. And that film actually was very important in kind of changing my mindset about who we are. So I began to become more self-aware and more conscious, in terms of Black consciousness and understanding who I was. So things started to change then, and I began to see myself in a different light and began to understand Black consciousness, that we live in a world that isn't totally fair, that we have a rich history that I didn't know about growing up in church. And then when I started to understand all the things that we did as a people, that before enslavement, we had kings and queens, we had developed great civilizations, we developed architecture. I mean, you name it. We had a life before slavery. But most of us, well, I understood my existence through that kind of narrative that, everything started in slavery. So when I was able to understand that there was time before that, 5,000 years ago, we were doing so many great things, my posture changed. And I began to really get into self acceptance and loving who I was and loving my skin and loving my hair. So, yeah, I just moved into a whole new realm. My
Wow.
posture changed from being like apologetic to
Yeah.
like, you know
To
what, I
bold
need
now.
this. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And therein lies the power in really owning and understanding who you are and who we are. And therefore, what comes with it. This is
Yeah.
part of me. I'm not going to deny it.
So would you say because you done that self discovery of looking back past the slavery, that empowered you as a Black woman as well? That empowered you. You looked at life totally different, down to the culture. And most people only look at the slavery part. But when you go further
Exactly.
back and then you start looking, it empowered you. And when you said that, that's what empowered me when I went past that slavery mindset
Yes.
of we were just slaves and then look
Yes.
back into history and then to see the power and these people, what they created. And, it
Absolutely.
empowered me as a person. And then
Yes.
as you were saying, that would empower you as a self-love, but also to love everything about yourself, including your hair.
Exactly.
So let's touch on
Exactly.
the hair sort of topic and going back to the hair topic.
Hmm.
With the empowerment of the culture, what did that culture teach you about Black hair?
Okay, so the culture taught me, looking back again, that our hair was really significant. Our hair was important because way back in African civilization and African society, our hair, in terms of the styles that we wore, could tell you about your status in the society, could tell you about your marital status, the tribe that you belong to. I mean, there's just so much. in terms of our hair. It wasn't just hair for styling. It was significant. There was lots of different and important things, that it signified. In terms of our culture, because now as a people, having been enslaved, having been colonized, and living in a society now where we're not seen as the norm, and any kind of reference to us is through like a European lens. So when they look at us, they don't see somebody that's equal, they see somebody who's less than, and nothing about us is promoted, in school that's positive. So most people would have learned about themselves in a history lesson and were taught about slavery. Now, if that's your first point of contact, it's like you haven't got anything to be proud of. So when I understood, as I said, about who we are, what we've done, what our ancestors have done, and the contribution we've made to the world, it totally changed me. So I remember cutting my hair and having a Grace Jones haircut, for example, and rocking that style and feeling really powerful because it's like, this is who I am. And culture is very important because we had a culture before, it was decimated and we were enslaved and whatever. And we have been taught to take on like a Western style culture. And my sole purpose almost is to strip all of that back and to enable my fellow friends, family, acquaintances to understand that we have a very powerful culture that isn't just about consuming, it's not just about having, material possessions, but it's about community, it's about love, it's about living in oneness with nature. It's so much more than material things. Yeah, so it embodies all of that.
Yeah. What I do want to say to listeners out there, please do get your likes up in the chat. That's the thumbs up. Please get the thumbs up. It's important to get your thumbs up in the chat just to push this video out. I keep on saying each and every week. That helps us to grow as a channel and it gets this conversation out there to a wider audience. But also I am going to open up the chat room, not the phone line, so the chat room as well. If you do have any questions and you like to ask any question, the chat room is open now. I can bring that up on the screen. And yeah, go ahead and just feel free to ask your questions. But please, I know there's people watching. There might be people just be listening. Take that time just to quickly go to your phone or your laptop or the TV and just put that thumbs up. That's all I'm asking. Just quickly put that thumbs up, But touching back on the topic again, some say our hair work like an antenna, carrying energy. What is your thought on that?
I agree. I totally agree with that. I think hair, because lots of people would just say, well, it's just hair. What we're making a big deal about hair for, but it isn't just hair. Our hair scientifically has a lot of power within it. It is an antenna. It interacts with the environment. It's about vibration. It kind of keeps us safe. It helps with that kind of intuition about what's actually going on around us. It helps us communicate with our environment.
How does it
It's
help us?
powerful.
How does it help us communicate? How is that?
Do you know the science behind, for example, you got hairs on your body,
Yeah.
and when you're in a environment that is threatening, the hairs on your body stands up, right? So we
Definitely.
take a lot of this stuff for granted, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
does make us a bit more intuitive. You walk in a room maybe and you can kind of sense more what is actually going on. Sometimes you hear the phrase, oh, my spirit don't take this person, or you sense certain things. I think our hair is very, very powerful. and we underestimate that. And therefore, we will go and, for example, perm it or relax it, and we kill it. There is no life then in that hair. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those follicles are kind of dead, and then you have to put all this stuff on it to kind of make it even look alive. I mean, when you see an afro or our hair, it stands up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's its natural way of being.
Yeah.
So all aspects of us has some kind of power. Nothing on us is here for no reason. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And what's some of the different textures of the hairs of the black community hairs? Because they're different sort of hair
Yeah,
types. What are those
there
different hair types that they are?
there are lots and lots of different hair types, and this is why um, you really have to understand that the length and breadth of Africa has so many different textures, and diversity, I suppose, is the word, diversity of textures.
Yeah.
And it's interesting why we gravitate towards one particular type of texture, or we see this texture as bad and this as good hair. But we do know what that is. That's internalizing kind of Western standards of what beauty is, because European features, European hair is considered, beautiful.
Yeah.
Whereas the further you go from that, the worse we see our hair, and therefore we try and always to change it and morph and become something that it isn't. And there is such a thing as texturism. So there's discrimination even
Yeah.
against different textures. And the hair industry kind of becomes like a leech, really, where it's trying to um, produce products that falsely make us feel like if we use this product, then we're going to have straight hair. If we use this product, we can kind of have a different look. And YouTube, for example, is
Yeah.
is really, I wouldn't say good. It's good at doing this, but it's kind of false because it's about selling products, and therefore we need to become happy with the texture that we have,
Yeah.
because that's what we've come to earth with. That's the texture we have, and it's really about learning how to care for our different textures. And there's been such a gap in education about how to look after our natural hair, because for a long time, I would say in the 80s and 90s, many women kind of went down the route of relaxing, or they call it wet curls or
Yeah.
whatever. Jerry curls.
Jerry curls. Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you have a Jerry curl, DJ?
I'm not gonna say nothing there. I'm not giving away nothing there. But yeah, back in the days, I'll tell you what, back in the days,
Yeah.
yeah.
We've kind of all been there. I've had my hair relaxed, I've had Jerry curls, I've had whatever, but it's kind of following fashion, you know what I mean?
Mm,
And peer pressure. But texturism is a real thing, and we're a lot more proud, I would say now, the natural hair movement over the last 10, 20 years, since Black Power
yeah.
in America, and wearing the afro and whatever, we are becoming a lot more accepting of the different textures, but it's still a thing.
Yeah.
And as I say, the hair industry really, what would you say? They exploit. That's the word. They exploit the kind of inadequacy within our community around texture.
Yeah. Would you say that there's DNA in our hair? Scientists are also saying they believe that hair carries memories and also like DNA as well. What's your feeling on that?
I mean, that's really interesting. I haven't really delved into that deeply, but if you think about it, we are the living generation of our ancestors.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
if you go way, 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 way back, and think about the struggles that our people have gone through, the fight, the exploitation, the trauma. We are the living embodiment, really, of a lot of that. So, of course, I suppose we would have quite a lot of that within our DNA, that we're
Yeah.
still carrying a lot of trauma that we even haven't dealt with, that sometimes we're not even aware that we're even carrying, or why we're behaving in certain ways, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You spoke about earlier when you first come on about Return to Your Roots Festival. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how it connects health, self-love, and identifying yourself as well as Black
Okay.
people?
Okay, so Return to Your Roots is festival is a celebration of and promotion of self-love and self-acceptance. And what that is about is returning to your roots in terms of your hair, your natural hair. Because I think it's important for self-acceptance to be able to look in the mirror and accept what we see. Self love doesn't just happen because we live in a society that pushes back against anything that is black, that anything that we see as powerful. The society doesn't really uplift, but we have to do that work of self love and self acceptance. So it celebrates everything to do with our culture, the positive aspects of our culture, which is, saying, look at who you are and accept who you are. But it's a journey, it doesn't just happen overnight, but we have workshops and we have education, and it's a space for us to really talk to each other and support each other and give up each other ideas. It's also realistic because it's saying for us to have beautiful hair, we also need to obviously understand our hair, but also understand what we need to eat, to and nutrition. Yeah, understand the kind of nutrition we need for our hair. Using hair oils or things that are topical won't do it on its own. We really need to eat correctly and eat for health. There's a quote that says, my body is the only place I have to live, and therefore we have to look after it so that it can help us to get the best out of life, that we are energized to do the things that we need to do.
Yeah.
So Return to Your Roots is a massive celebration. We have about 1,000 people that come from all around the country to embrace our naturalness, to embrace our culture, and celebrate together.
Yeah. And when does that happen so that people can know when you put that on? I know we spoke about this, so they can find that on your website. Is that correct as well?
That's right. They can find out and look at our previous website to see what took place. We
Yeah.
have about, I don't know, about 10 different workshops on lots and lots of different areas relating to our hair, our culture, our health. And also, we focus on our children because it's really important that we begin to instill self love in them. And there are lots of books for sale, about hair. There are workshops for our children where they can learn how to look after their own hair. In the past, we've even had workshops for our men to understand how to braid and twist and care for, their children's hair, mainly girls, because it's really important for our men to empower young girls and to positively impact them, and big them up so that they feel like they're
Yeah.
beautiful. Do you know what I mean? We're giving messages to our girls about what beauty is,
Yeah.
and who better to do that than their father and their parents?
That's true. I think when you look at it like that, I've never really thought about it. But men, I think we do need to definitely start embracing the natural hair and loving and putting that message out there that it's okay to be natural, natural hair, to wear your natural hair, and to make our daughters feel proud of having that natural hair. Even
Exactly.
down to the sons as well. As I said, they're all plaiting their
I
hair now
agree.
and stuff. So, down to the
I
plaits.
agree. I
But
agree.
you touched on the eating. I want to go down to the eating because I think eating is, is so
It's so
powerful.
important. Yeah.
It is so powerful of what you put in your body. So what's some of the foods that people, say for example, shouldn't eat and should eat?
Okay. So, processed food, as we know, is like the worst food. It's like denatured food. And, it doesn't do our bodies, it's not nutrition. It's not nutrition. It kind of tastes good, with lots of salt, maybe lots of sugar, but it doesn't do anything for our bodies, and therefore eating food that is grown in the ground, plant-based food, and also we don't know what is being put in food,
Yeah.
how it's being produced. We're so far away from. I grew up in Jamaica, and I remember my father would, go and plant food, and then we'd reap, and then, you'd have root crops and whatever. And that's the kind of food that we ate. And even when he came here, he had a allotment, and lots of people have got allotments. So you've got pumpkin, you've got peas, you've got all these things that they are growing, right? And that is proper food, you know. Processed food is just killing us with all the numbers. Um, it's just not doing us any good. And sometimes when I speak to women and they're like, "Oh, my hair is falling out or it's thinning," and I'd say to them, "Well, what are you
What are
eating?
you eating? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what kind of food? Are you getting vegetables? Are you just having carbohydrates? Are you having things that are too oily? That's not gonna. That's not great nutrition.
Yeah.
Juice up some greens, for example, and help, your hair and other parts of your body to function. As they say, we are what we eat, right?
Yeah,
We
definitely.
are what we eat. And it's so important. And just to make a quick point, about 15 years ago, I had a mini stroke. And that mini stroke was the catalyst for me to change my life. So I went plant based. I started to exercise more. That's another thing.
Stress
We
as
have
well.
we
Yeah.
have to do it all.
Yeah.
We can't just want these great things without doing the work. And I know having a healthy diet, sometimes it takes time because it's so easy to just go to the chip shop, right?
Yep.
Or just to get some kind of takeaway food that you can put in the microwave. It's not nutrition. And therefore, you just have to put the work in to make yourself
Yeah,
healthier. Yeah,
definitely. So it's definitely about eating. What would you say about juicing as well? Juicing, would you say that's fine?
absolutely.
Definitely
I,
juicing.
I personally believe in juicing. There are some people who don't. They believe in maybe just eating loads of fruit, different types of fruit, but there's only so much fruit one person can eat. Whereas if I do green juice, and I also have fruit juice as well. But I try to do it from source rather than buying, um, an orange juice from the shelf, because again, it's just like pure sugar.
Yeah.
And if I do drink those juices, I have to water them down. So I just try. It's very hard in this society when you're working, you've got commitments, you've got so much to do to focus on those things. But, if you're not healthy, how are you going to be able to do all the things
Do
that
the
you
things that
do?
you want to do.
You know what I'm saying? We kind of
Definitely.
shorten our lives. And it's important for our children that they see us eating correctly, doing the right things. It's too easy just to have packets of crisps and sweets in your bag that you take to school for lunch. That's not food. That's not food.
Yeah. Definitely would say definitely with juicing because I think as well with the juicing, you can juice for at least 3 to 2 days at least. And what
Mm-hmm.
I decided to do, I decided to go glass. So when I'm juicing, I put it in a
Yes.
glass bottle instead of using
Yes.
the plastic. And if anybody's out there as well, you can get glass bottles when you're juicing, and it's better to put it in the glass than the plastic, because obviously the
Absolutely.
chemicals from the plastic can have an effect on you as well. And I know they
Yes.
were saying that we consume a lot of plastic within our bodies as well, like a size of a credit card up to
Absolutely.
a day, they were saying, because of the plastic things that we consume and cooking and
Yes.
heat our food in and those sort of stuff. So
Definitely.
all those things, I think, we need to just look at where it's affecting our hair, our mood swings, everything to do with that. But I just want to go back to another part that you touched on, the young girls with their natural hair. I think that's so important for the younger generation now,
It
and
is.
the peer pressure that is on social media out there,
Yes.
that is in the media as well, for them to look a certain way. I mean,
Massive.
I don't want to be like disrespectful or anything, or anyway, I'm not trying to be. But I
Yeah.
remember I was driving at my workplace, and I was driving straight. And I saw this lady, and to be honest, I thought it was a white lady because of the hair, the straightness, the longness, only to realize it was a black girl. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I
Mm.
thought she was, because I only saw her hair, the back, didn't see her hand, didn't see her face. So how important is it for these young girls, and what can we do? I know education is part of it. Music is another form, I think, which is important. There was
Yeah.
a song that I saw going around on the internet. It was a cartoon character, but it was a black cartoon character, and they're singing the song, "I Love My Hair." And I remember this baby in the car with his mum and the daughter,
Yes.
and they were saying that I love my hair, and I said, look
Yes.
at that. That is so powerful. So what can we do to help the younger girls and the younger generation now to embrace and love their hair?
Okay. So to be honest, the natural hair movement, I'm seeing the result of the work that's gone on in the last 20 years. I'm seeing it now. When I walk down the street and I see lots of young girls going to school now with like afro puffs and their hair combed back and with their bun at the back, or they've got their braids in their hair, they've got cane rows and plaits and whatever. There's a lot more acceptance and embracing from our young people of their natural hair. Also, I notice our boys are doing it, like you said. Our boys have got their twists, they've got their cane rows, etc. They've got locks. A lot of
Yes.
our young boys and young girls, and the growth in locks, for example, has just been phenomenal. So there are so many different types of locks that you can have now. Whereas remember back in the day, it's like people used to cuss people with locks. Move yourself, you have dirty locks, and God
Mm,
bless Rasta, because they actually suffered a lot
they
for
suffered
and
a
brought
lot.
us to where we are today. I mean, to the point where now I go to church and I see like pastors' wives with sister locks.
Mm,
So we've come a long, long way. And I think that's because of the work that's been done in terms of political education, by parents and different groups and communities. So, and also the music. There have been some good role models, and a lot of the kind of celebrities are embracing their natural hair. So now it's almost becoming like the norm, although we're still fighting against establishments like the
the
workplace,
workplace,
who
come on,
see
yeah.
natural hair as, unprofessional in some instances. And
What would
also school.
I'm about to just say that the schools,
Yeah,
the
they're
schools,
sending children home because their
yes.
hair is too big, or, they can't, they're sitting in front of somebody and they can't see the blackboard, and all kind of silly reasons. And it's just hair discrimination, which I know, um, is it World Afro Day? Michelle de Leon is campaigning
Yeah.
to and take go into Parliament to get that seen as completely wrong and unfair. So they're trying to get that changed in the Equality Act, that is seen as discrimination.
Yeah.
But against all the odds, there is a massive movement now for natural hair. And also it's because of the realization and education that some of the synthetic hair that we've been using to put in our hair for protective styles, etc., are bad for us. They're carcinogenic. They're causing all kinds of illnesses. They're affecting our health. And therefore, all of this, I think, is coinciding and making people think more about, well, let me embrace my natural hair. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And do what we can. There's also another woman that's really ripping things up, and her name is Paige Lewin, I think it is, and she's written a book about natural afro hair. So she goes into everything about how to care for it, what you need to do, some of the political and psychological arguments. Like, for example, the woman you said you saw walking down the road, and it's
Yep.
like she's got big, long, blonde weave or whatever.
Yep.
It's understanding the psychological impact that living in a society like this, where beauty is seen as one thing, you know, straight nose, long hair, blonde hair, etc. It's actually impacting a lot of our women who want to be seen as beautiful, but like, who is defining beauty? So it's a journey and it takes time. And it's important to say for the natural hair community that we are not judgmental, or we are not self-righteous and putting down our sisters who are still kind of on that journey and are figuring it out. And that's why I said at the beginning, this is a very controversial topic, you
Definitely.
know.
Definitely. So how can mothers help their daughters grow up loving their natural hair? What's some of the techniques that the mums could use to really
Okay.
empower their daughter? I'm not going to say daughters and sons.
And sons, because
Yeah.
again, it's about sons. Who are they going to grow up and see as beautiful? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's important. So one of one of the things that really stood out to me, and it was something that Jan Van Zandt. You've heard of Jan Van Zandt, yeah?
No.
Okay, a lot of women will
Yeah.
know her.
Okay.
She's a spiritual and personal development kind of educator. She said that we teach not by what we say, but by what we do. Okay? So if we are mothers at home and we have like weaves and we don't love our hair, we hide it for months and months underneath, wigs and protective styles or whatever, or we relax it, what are we saying to our girls? It's not what we say, it's what we
What we
do.
do.
So you're telling your daughter, oh, you must love yourself, be proud of who you are. But actually, we're doing something totally different. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lead
I
by
love that. I
example.
love that actually. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah.
So we have to be careful. It's a bit like, parents who say to their kids, stop swearing, no bad word in the
Come
house.
on.
But they're
Yeah.
the first
They're
one
the first one
cussing.
to do it.
And
Yes.
exactly. So that's how we teach. That's how we teach, not by what we say, but by what we do. So we need to think about that and think, what kind of example am I setting for my daughter? What am I saying by doing and behaving in a certain way? Yeah?
Yeah.
Because that's what they will listen to. It's what they see.
Yeah. So what about the
Yeah.
fathers? How can the fathers help build
Oh my
confidence in their
gosh.
daughters? What can we do? What can we do as men to help our sons and
Listen,
daughter? What can we do now as men?
listen, men have a massive role to play here. Because at the end of the day, a lot of women, they want to be beautiful. They want to look good because they want to have a relationship. They want to find a man, settle down, have a family. But if our men are messed up in their heads about what they consider beauty to be. Okay. So a lot of the time, they don't even see their sisters as beautiful because them too dark, them too black,
Mm.
or them head too picky, or them this, that, they want long flowing hair. Well, do you know what? Nature didn't give us that kind of crown.
Mm.
Nature gave us an afro or a short afro because the way our hair grows, not everybody has long hair. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's hair grows to maybe a certain length and it stops. But redefining what beauty is when they see their woman with their natural hair rather than like, I saw you gold, or you know what I mean? It's like big them up, say how beautiful they are. And it's changing that lens. You
Mm.
know, have we got a lens that really is about the white gaze? Are
Mm.
we looking at ourselves through their eyes? So we have to go on a journey of re education ourselves, but also to do the work in the family because you're responsible for your family. Don't leave it to school. Don't leave it to YouTube and to the TV. You
Definitely.
are responsible for ensuring that you're growing rounded individuals, as citizens in society. And also, if the Black family is going to continue, we need to see ourselves as beautiful. Do you know what I mean? We have to big up each other and
Mm.
love upon each other, in the way we show up.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to say the phone lines is open. So the phone line number is 07471 539 533. If you want to call in and you've got any questions, you can do that now. The line is open for you to call in. So what would you say to someone who's just starting a natural hair journey and feels
Hmm.
unsure now to educate themselves
Yeah.
because they're unsure of what to do? How do I go on this natural journey? What
Yes.
information is there for them to find out if they're just starting, say,
Okay.
from brand new?
Yes. Now listen, there is so much out there now for people who are deciding to go on a natural air journey, to go natural. I remember when lots of women used to come to the salon I had in the jewelry quarter, and they reached a point where they decided they wanted to go natural. And they were afraid, mainly because, again, their man might not find that attractive. What you do with your head? Okay, that's major. Family, like mothers, I remember 40-year-old women coming to see me and saying they want to go natural, but they're afraid of what their mother's going to say. So there is a lot of fear because it's change, it's seeing yourself in a different way. But you can start with maybe having twists in your hair or something like that so that, you're going to do it gradually. It's not drastic. Okay. I would get a mentor or get somebody who has gone on that journey and understands the journey to mentor you. Because if you're left on your own, one day you feel empowered, next week you have a
Mm.
relaxer. Yeah, you've gone back because of that fear. Um, and also because it's new territory. You haven't been walking that path. But also, I would say just stay the course because over time you will begin to readjust and your lens will look at yourself differently. Yeah. But it does take time. And I can speak for women who decide to go to have locks, for example, and they all come to me and they talk about how do I get through the ugly stage? I mean, just saying that
Mm.
tells you a lot. So again, everybody, you have to start where people are. So maybe again, they start with twists. I've said to some of them, that their locks are going to be short to begin with. They want it to grow long. So maybe if you continue doing some of what you do, I don't know, you're still wearing your wig for a little while until your hair grows. You know what? Different strokes for different folks.
Mm.
I'm not going to say to somebody, you have to do this. But the important thing is to be kind to people and to help them on that journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say that as well. What about if somebody is losing their hair, and
Oh, wow.
that we haven't touched on that part. But what about somebody's losing their hair? What would you
If
say to
somebody,
them?
now this is it's quite a difficult space, this.
Mm,
Losing your hair. Imagine, we've been told as women that our hair is our crown, our hair is our glory, and it kind of defines your womanhood. Yeah. So imagine now you're losing your hair for whatever reason, whether it's alopecia or, I don't know, you've had an illness or cancer, and you're losing your hair or your hair's just falling out. And I've experienced many women talking to me about this, and it's very, very sad. They now are beginning to feel like they're not beautiful anymore because their hair is their crown, as we know. But there are things that you can do, and we've had workshops specifically on this topic
yeah.
where you have experts who will come along and talk about why people are losing their hair. Some of that is to do with how we care for our hair. We're combing our hair too tight, we're braiding our hair too tight, we're pulling out our edges, and slowly, or we're weaving and it's so tight,
Can it be
slowly we're
stress?
losing our
Stress as
hair.
well? Down to stress?
Absolutely, absolutely. Illness, stress, your hair tells the story. You can look at somebody's hair and see, the journey they've kind of been on in terms of their health, etc. But there are things you can do, if you're losing your hair, to a certain extent. But then there are those who have no hair whatsoever. I know women who are rocking their bald head. Okay, and that
That's a new
is a
movement.
very,
That's a new movement I've seen as well. I've
absolutely,
seen that movement, which
absolutely,
is
yeah.
good for them to embrace it and to love it and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's about having that conversation about, can we do anything with our thinning? Is there anything we can do? Can we grow it back because it might be temporary or whatever? Or is there an argument about, you know what, you just rock the boldness because this is where you are now. And there are so many women who feel really empowered and are proud. And I've seen some beautiful women with no hair
Yeah, I've seen it.
whatsoever.
Yeah,
So it's
definitely.
about the whole range, you know what I mean? It's the spectrum.
Hmm.
Um, but it's not an easy conversation for a lot of people, to have.
So, what's some of the daily habits someone could use or to get their confidence up, their pride, and in how they look? What is some of the daily habits that they can start doing to, if they want to improve that? I want to feel empowered. I want to feel like I love my hair. What are some of the
Mhm.
daily things that they could be doing to help them along that journey?
Okay, so to begin with, I think it's really important to join a community. There are so many hair communities online. So on Instagram, I mean, there are just so many different communities that you can join, and it's best to do that because doing it alone is really hard. So definitely join a community that is on their natural hair journey. Talk to people who are already embracing their natural. Educate yourself about natural hair and how to begin to care for it. Because again, there is this thing that if you go natural, it's kind of easier. It's not easier. You just have to make a choice. And I think whatever you do with your hair takes work.
Mm.
Okay. So you have to be prepared, whether you're feeling good one day or bad the next, is just to endure. Do you know what I mean? It's just to be determined. And over time, you will actually begin to embrace that and feel better about yourself. But you can't do that without the self work around identity and around consciousness and understanding your history and understanding yourself.
Mm.
So that is part of the journey, it's personal development as well. Yeah.
So what about connecting to their roots? How do they connect to their roots for someone as well? Because roots and like culture is important, as you said, and what I get to understand of loving myself, of understanding that history as well. For somebody who's listening and say, I don't know nothing about my history, how do they start going on that journey as well? Because that's very important. Because I think once you go further back than slavery and you start seeing the
Yeah.
leaders, the kings, the queens, the lands we had and what we built and the technology back then as well, it starts empowering you, because before all you knew is that you was a slave and owned by somebody. But when you
Exactly.
look back now and you're looking at, wow, we had this, we had gold spears and certain things that we had, which is important. So how does someone connect back to their roots? What was some of the steps, would you say?
This is a big one, because you have to have some kind of desire to want to connect with your roots, because there are so many of us, because we live in this society, we've been miseducated, we've been indoctrinated about who we are. We tend sometimes not to even want to connect. So it's a massive, massive journey. I think most people connect to their roots because something happens to them. For example, if somebody got beat up by, I don't know, a gang of white youths, or somebody's been racist towards them, or they're experiencing something at work or whatever. Different experiences bring you to a point where you're asking questions
Yeah.
like, what is going on here? Why are we in the position that we're in? And for me, that was what happened with me. I started to ask questions like, why are Black people always at the bottom? Why are we not, um, why don't we own all of this wealth and property and blah blah? So it got me asking
Asking
questions.
questions.
Until you start asking questions and looking for answers, it's like you're talking to a wall. Because even within my family, there are lots of us who don't really see this as that important. And my brother, for example, for years and years, he just wasn't interested. Yet recently, he's now connecting. We're having conversations
That's
about
right.
our
Yeah.
history, our roots, and maybe also what's happening in society and in the world. The George Floyd incident, for example, everybody was watching TV. That brought about a lot of like, hang on a minute, what
What's
is
going
going
on?
on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's making people question. So everybody's kind of have to go on their journey, I suppose, in understanding why it's important to connect to their roots. But that's why I do Return to Your Roots Festival, because I keep it light. It's about hair, it's about food, it's about health, but when people come, we get into conversations about history, about culture. And in that space, we're educating each other. There are stalls selling all kinds of products. There are people talking about, what we've done in history, etc. So it kind of makes people think and they want to come back for more. So
Yeah.
it's a bit like pushing the door open.
Do
Yeah.
you want to answer this question by Alicia? She's asked a question. Do you want to read it out and then answer it as well? Is that all right?
Okay. Thank you for promoting love for our precious, unique black hair. Do you have any techniques to make 4C hair more manageable, or can you signpost? Yes. Okay. So this is kind of what I was saying about YouTube, for example.
Yeah.
There's so much product that is being pushed, and yet it doesn't actually, those products don't do what we think it should do. So I would actually suggest a company called Design Essentials.
Yeah.
They produce products that are really good for so-called 4C hair. What I mean by 4C hair is it's the most coily, it's
Okay.
tightly curled hair. Okay. Um, so it's difficult for moisture to penetrate, etc. So there are particular products for that particular type of hair. So definitely I can signpost you to Design Essentials.
Yeah.
Um,
She said
I,
also the
I know
grading.
that some of their products are definitely good for 4C hair.
Yeah. She's also asked another question. Also, the grading of our hair texture acceptable. Is that the same thing that you were saying, sort of thing?
Yeah, is the grading of our hair texture acceptable? I think, is that to do with texturism, Alicia? I think you're talking about that
Yeah.
people do grade hair based on hair texture. I don't think that's acceptable at all. And I think it's about understanding and accepting the diversity of textures. You know, no texture is better than the other. It is hair. It is just textured hair.
Yeah.
In the same way that we've got people with, colorism, we've got people who are darker, we've got lighter people. There seems to be a preference for light-skinned people who are lighter skinned. And even in the Caribbean, for example, if you go into a bank to this day, the lighter skinned are have the jobs, and the darker skinned people are kind of doing work that is more kind of labor intensive, etc. So we unfortunately we have texture discrimination, and we just need to be accepting of all textures.
Let me.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. She's saying that it conjures up a negative feeling, and it does. And that's why many of our women are trying so hard to change their textures. If not, they're wearing, weaves or braids or different types of textured hair, because it kind of makes them feel better. That's part of that whole trauma that we're living with, and then we kind of berate a lot of women who do wear these kind of wigs or different types of what you call it, extension hair. But we all kind of collude with this
Yeah.
and uphold some textures and look down on others.
A person
The
talks
name
about.
of the festival, somebody's asking,
Yeah.
is Return to Your Roots Festival. And that is going to be held possibly at the Legacy Centre in Birmingham. And next year, I'm actually collaborating with Leon Marshall, and we are doing a festival that will be called the Science of
Science
Black
of
Hair.
black hair. Yeah.
Yeah. And that will be at the Legacy Centre on the 4th of April. So it's really a good place to attend because there's so much information, there's so much cross fertilization, people sharing ideas, styling tips, different types of products that they would recommend people use for different textures, etc. So it's a great place to go.
Yeah. Let me just bring up the phone line again. And while I'm bringing up the phone line, guys, if you can get the thumbs up in the chat. Let's get those thumbs up, get the like, push it out. But this is the phone number. If you would like to call in and ask the question, we are going to be closing in a minute of the show. So if you do have any question and you would like to ask a question on the show, that phone number is 074 715 39533. So if you are interested, you don't have to just put it in the chat. You can absolutely call in and ask anything that you've got to ask. And also, this is the social media where you can find her all on Instagram, and it's LinkedIn, and there's also the website there as well. So I will bring this back up near the end of the show as well. So if you do want to take a screenshot use your mobile phone quickly just to take a screenshot of that. So you can basically find her on Instagram, LinkedIn, and there's also a website there. And I'm just going to bring up the phone number for you again, which is 074 715 39533. So if you do want to call in and you've got a question, please do that now because the lines will be closing soon as well. Somebody's asking, will you be doing a show in London? That's important as well, for the London people.
Do
I'm
you
gonna
know
have to
how
have a
many
word with
times?
Leon.
Do you know how many times we've been asked if we're doing a show in London? The answer, I suppose, is not likely because there are so many hair shows that are held in London. Um, yeah, not likely. This is definitely easier for us to organise in Birmingham, and people actually come from all over the country. Last event that we had over 1,000 people. So we have people from all over coming to the event. Just jump on the train and
Yeah,
come to Birmingham.
I
Have a
think we're
day
I
out.
think we're gonna have to make one in London. Somehow we're gonna have to make that work for London because we need one down here as well. So somehow we'll have to make that happen. Somehow we'll have
Definitely.
to get you down here. But someone else has asked you a question.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question.
Do you
Do
have a
you have a
go on.
stronger spiritual connection with yourself since being on your natural journey? Absolutely, definitely. Um, Yeah, this is powerful. So everything is kind of connected and interrelated because from the time I began to understand what we did as a people and our contribution historically and how powerful and great we are as a people, and then embracing who I am. I mean, that in itself is like a spiritual move, really, in embracing all of that. And as part of that, I've embraced African spirituality as well. So definitely is the answer to your question.
Definitely. Is that the event of Saturday the
That's the
4th
event.
of April? Okay.
That's the one. That's exactly it.
Someone else asked a question. Want to read that again?
Okay. Is there any support for young parents who are in budget with regards to products for natural hair? Um, support in terms of maybe recommending the best type of products to have, because I agree with you, natural hair products are not cheap because of I suppose, the nature of the ingredients that are in the products. But I would say if you can find one or two products that work well for you, then at least you're not buying lots and lots of different types of products. I would suggest Nyla's hair care products as well. They do some really good products for children's hair and for natural hair. So, in support of young parents who are on a budget, find something that works for you. And remember, we don't really need to put a lot of product in our hair. I think we need to just ensure that we wash our hair maybe every 1 or 2 weeks. Water is really important for our hair because that makes it kind of easy to manage, but then maybe having some kind of moisturizer as well, and oil after washing the hair to seal the hair. So you don't need tons and tons of different products. Maybe stick to one or two. So again, design essentials, Nyla's hair. There is a whole range of different types of products that you can use. And maybe what I will do is put something up on my Insta page, something that recommends maybe a range of different types of natural products that you can use.
So as well, how would somebody know about their hair texture? Which one is their hair texture? How would a parent who probably doesn't know or how to deal with their child's hair, how would they find which texture is their child's hair?
Okay, so, and again, I really don't like talking about, the so-called different types of textures, but it's helpful. If you go onto and just Google hair textures, really have straight, wavy, and coily. Yeah, coily is when the texture is very tight. The
Yes.
curls are very tight. So, and that type of hair needs more moisture. Uh, it doesn't hold moisture as much as hair that is straight. Yeah. So, I mean, this is quite kind of complex, really. But if you go on and just Google hair textures, it will show you the different types of coils and curls. So they'll be straight, wavy, coily, and generally you'll be able to tell where your texture, your daughter's texture lies. Also, remember that within one head, you could have different textures as well. So for me, for example, the back of my hair is wavier than the front, which is tighter. So again, bear that in mind. So one texture might not necessarily be throughout your head.
Yeah. Okay, as we come to the close now, I'm just going to leave this open for you. Is there anything, this is your time now to say to the black women out there with their hair and also the black boys and men out there with hair? This is your time now. You can say whatever you want. This is your time.
Okay, so I would say, like I said earlier, this is such a controversial topic and it's vast. There is so much complexity to it. My position is I'm a natural hair advocate because I think when we can embrace who we are, our identity, and how we've come to earth, and we're not fighting with ourselves to change ourselves or morph into something else, we then can really move on and do the things that we need to do in the power that this is who I am, a total acceptance of self. So it is a political and a cultural stance. I know when I go into training rooms with my locks and I go into many, many different types of spaces, white spaces, I feel empowered. I feel I've reached a point where I love myself, I accept myself, and therefore, yeah, I do not question whether I'm worthy or not because this is who God made me to be, and I just embrace who I am. So I would recommend and suggest to everyone listening to really embrace your natural, embrace who you are, and really stand up in your power and your authenticity because you are unique. Every single one of us are unique. And your life is not a mistake. And you just have to fulfill and be who you are and become comfortable in your own skin. And by doing that, you gain respect from everyone else around you. And also, you then are a great example for your family, your children. And, for our brothers, I'm really going to encourage you to see past the kind of visual aesthetic of somebody in front of you in terms of defining what beauty is. We all have different kind of characteristics of the physical, but there is a depth. And real beauty is about character. Real beauty is about who this person is, okay? And looks and hair, it go and drop out at some point as we age. And, we're not going to look the same, okay? We are having a relationship with another soul, another authentic person. We're not having a relationship with just the physical, superficial. Okay. And I think that's the most powerful thing that I can say to people, to be yourself. Brothers, let's form real meaning relationships with our soulmates. And tell your woman she's beautiful.
Yep,
Okay.
definitely.
Tell your woman she's beautiful. And one last thing, let's not focus too much on the things we can't change. We've come, as I said, in a body to help us to move around the planet. That's what that body is there for. That's not who we are. Okay. So let's just embrace what we see and work on the part of us that we can change, our personalities, our character, to become even more beautiful.
Definitely. And for the final question that I asked every guest who's been on the Just Talk Black show, and that's the final question for today, which is always asked at the end of the show. If you could host a table of any black person living or is passed away, who would you invite and why?
Oh my gosh. I would invite Maya Angelou. I think you know who she is. Maya Angelou has been a tower of strength and is a real example of somebody that has been through the mill. I mean, if you understand her story from being a child, somebody that was abused sexually, uh, somebody who was told she wouldn't amount to anything, to a phenomenal writer. And actually, that's her one of her poems, I think, "Phenomenal Woman." That's who you are. That's one of her poems. But she is an amazing woman that has worked on herself, and she's an example of what we can become, because it's not where we start, it's where we finish.
Finish.
And that's down to every single person. It's not about who's outside of you, it's about what you do for yourself. So become your best friend and become your best kind of champion, and do the self-development work on yourself to become whatever it is that you want to become.
Definitely love that. I'm just going to quickly bring up your social media again. So where people, I'm going to bring it up for the last time. This is the last time I'm going to bring it up for your social media. So this is where you can find on all her social media, website as well. So as I said before, if you got your mobile phone, just take a screenshot or take a picture of it. And yeah, that's it. So quickly do that. And that would be it. I just want to thank you for coming on the Just Talk Black show. You know, this has been a topic that it's educated me in a big
Thank
way,
you.
you know. So I really do appreciate you coming on the Just Talk Black show and spending time and just, you know, embracing. And, you know, it was just such a lovely thing to learn. And I think more guys need to definitely listen to this. And we've got a job to do with empowering the Black Queen. We have that job
Definitely.
definitely as guys to do. And yeah, I just want to thank you again for coming on to the Just Talk Black show for today. I really do appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, DJ Purpose. It's been wonderful.
No problem. Thank you very much for today. And that's it, guys. That is the end of the show. And I tell you what a show that was. I have learned so much today. And this is what the Just Talk Black show is about. It's about coming on and seeing that there's a problem and having solutions. And also learning. It's about education, learning. This is not the channel that is a hype channel and, you know, you see this person cussing off that person and, you know, this girl and that brother is cussing off that person. This is not the show. This is where we learn. This is where we learn from one another. This is where we find solutions to problems. This is where you can find out as well of many authors or many business out there that you didn't know, or many different other people that you never heard of. This is why the Just Talk Black show, because it brings different people from different walks in the Black community who you have probably never heard of, who has a very powerful stories and also who's doing good work in our community. These are the type of show that will show you of people that you have never seen, who's doing their hardest work out there, but they do not get the airspace. So this is the Just Talk Black show. And for all the new listeners out there who listen today, please do subscribe to the channel. Please do, and get those thumbs up. If you haven't liked today, please put those thumbs up. Thumbs up, guys. Very important. And just thank you for everybody who has participated in the chat. Really do appreciate you guys today. It's been fantastic with you guys there helping and answering the question. So for today, guys, I'll tell you what. And let me just bring up next week quickly as well. Because we have Leon Marshall, who is going to be on the Just Talk Black show. This is going to be next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. live on the Just Talk Black show. It is going to be on YouTube. That's where you can find us each and every Thursday. Sometimes we do a Monday's panel, which is at 7:30, and that could be different topics when we talk about panel, and that's usually 5 people, including myself, which makes it 6, and we will discuss many different topics. I can tell you one of the panels that we will be having soon, and that will be black teachers. So we will have a mixture of different teachers within the school system or education system who are going to be discussing about many different things within the education system. So that is one panel. But guys, thank you for today, for coming and supporting the Just Talk Black show.
Every curl's got a rhythm, every low got a name, every braid is a prayer, every twist flames the same. You don't need no crown made of gold, 'cause your hair already tells your soul.
This ain't just style, it's the story I wear. From the roots to the tips, power in my hair. My grandma pressed it, mama ride it tight. Taught me love myself every day, every night.
Coils that dance, edges that shine, every strand divine by design. They call it wild, I call it free. It's the rhythm of my ancestry. There's magic in my head, ain't nothing can compare. No, from braids to looks, from twist to wave, this crown was born from love and brave. There's magic in my head, it's how my spirit declares. I'm royalty, I'm rare, there's power in my head.
Try to call it unkempt, try to make us small, yes, small. But baby, these curls, they rise above it all, it all. Each braid, each twist, each look I wear is protest, pride and self-care.
There's magic in my head, ain't nothing can compare. From cornrows tight to afro flare, that's history in the air. There's magic in my head, I walk with love, I walk with flair. This crown I wear, there's beauty everywhere.
This is more than hair. It's our past, our pride, our power. And it's beautiful.